Hey guys, good evening. I'm sorry this is so late. We had a new baby in the house about a week ago, so I've been a little busier than normal trying to get everything done, and this just happened to be the first time I could get down here and start working on this. So, real excited about today's question though, because to me, a lot of the stuff I'm answering is just, how to fix this or flea beetles or stuff like that. But I also enjoy the philosophy and really getting into the business discussion about how to farm and what makes sense and all that stuff. So today's question is from Curtis Brown. He says, what are people's process of eliminating enterprises? We know that we need to cut and why. I'm more thinking on the customer service side. Do you let them know and say it's for economic purposes, as in our case? Do you say how you're going to try and better your other products? How do you keep customers that know you mainly for the product you're cutting? Or do you just say, tough, this is what I have to do for my business, and that's it, that? If the customer can't deal with it, then you need to find more customers to fill the income gap. So, great question, Curtis, but I kind of want to back up here. So I want to talk about enterprises and dropping them in general, and just to that whole process and why you might or might not do that. To me, that's the bigger question, and obviously you've identified that, but let's talk through identifying that for other people. So for me, when you're looking at an enterprise and any enterprise on your farm, there's a couple reasons why you might do that. So the one thing would be you love that. So you love it. So that's one circle of why you're growing something or raising something or doing something. The other thing would be, are you good at it? All right, so that's another circle. And the third circle would be, does it make you money? And obviously, your golden circle is right here in the center, where all three of those things interact. So, if you love it, you're good at it, and it makes you money, then sweet. But most of the time, it's not going to do that. So you may love something. So you may love raising cows, but on your scale or where you are, it just may not make sense. Or you're really good at something, but that's just not where it pays the bills. Or it makes you a ton of money, but you don't love it, or you're not really especially good at it. But if it makes you a lot of money, sometimes you're willing to put up with an awful lot, and that's your day job, and then you just do your hobbies on the side. So, what my business mentor always told me, look, you can love your 9 to 5 and be paid less for it, or you can hate your 9 to 5, make a lot of money at it, and just take longer vacations. But let's so those are kind of things to think about as you're evaluating enterprises. And so here also, too, a way to think about that and evaluate it is I really always like to talk about Jack Welch. And Jack Welch was the guy that came and turned around General Electric back in the day. And he took them from hundreds of little companies, and he really narrowed their entire thing down to only like a dozen or 6 main enterprises. And the stock prices plummeted, and everyone was all upset, saying he was going to destroy the company. But the company, turned around and just exploded with growth and profit. And there's a couple, so one of his big sayings was, during this time, it was, he's going to fix it. So if an enterprise wasn't quite working out, he's going to fix it. He was going to sell it. Or he was going to close it. And, I have his book here. This one, Jack Welch Winning. It's great on audiobook. He's also got a couple other ones he's authored that are good. But let's get back to this. So on the fix-it side, if we decide, hey, we think there's profit here, or we're not sure, we usually will go ahead and bring a consultant in or talk to someone that's really good in the business. So if you look at farming as a whole, there's all sorts of people out there doing all sorts of things, and some people really make a ton of money in some niche that you're like, I could never make money in that. And so for us, we would just go to that person and say, hey, why can you make money at this? What are we doing wrong? Can we hire you? Can you tell us, where we need to get the knowledge? Or maybe it's just their niche, and maybe what you're going to find out is that just person has some unfair advantage in that area, and that's why they're making money at it. So either going to bring in a consultant or also going to just really dial in the numbers. So here is something I look at a lot of farms, and I'll talk to them like, well, do you know your numbers on what it costs you to produce something? And frequently they don't. And so this is where I'm going to show you a spreadsheet we made up for some of our clients here. This is a real crop value calculator, and what this is you may have seen this before, but this takes every crop that the person was growing and breaks it down to the profit it's making them per week. So if, let's say a ginger crop is in the ground for 20 weeks, but they only get paid, they can only harvest it for 4 weeks, it takes that harvest period and spreads out the value of that for the entire time it's in the ground. And we just started showing them, like, look, this is what these crops are making you, and this is what you should be growing or not. And so one person's like, I make really good money on melons. And we're like, well, let's take a look at what you make per week on those. It ended up being really tough. It was only making 2 cents per square foot per week for them. So this is where you really have to know your numbers on a crop, and you may realize that, hey, this is something that I thought I wasn't making any money on it, but when I really ran the numbers on this, I was making money, or I just need to tweak these several things to make better money at this. So let's jump back here to the main screen. So sometimes you do have to sell it. So it just doesn't fit in your wheelhouse, or you don't have the bandwidth. And let's talk a little bit about bandwidth. So again, a lot of people are making money at all different things. A lot of farms we see, when they try to spread out and do more and more things, it's where they start to lose focus and can't quite get everything done on those main things. And so if you look at a lot of these wholesale growers, and a lot of these wholesale growers focus on 6 or 8 crops. And they do those 6 or 8 crops very, 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 very well. I mean, those beets, every single beet's exactly the right size, and every single melon looks great. They don't have the disease. But when you try to do, like, let's say a CSA and grow 50 or 60 crops, because you're trying to grow such a great variety, you can't focus as much on each one as you'd like. So that's where sometimes it does make sense to sell it. But if you do sell it, what I like to see is taking that enterprise and trying to work with it for a little bit, putting a little bit more effort into it, cleaning it up, and getting it ready so that when you do sell it, you can get a higher price point for it, so that your books on that look really good. It shows a good upward trend on that. And sometimes you just don't have the passion for that. That's why you want to sell that as well, too, if you don't want to fix it. And then sometimes you just have to close it. So you're looking at it and you're like, you know what? This is not making money. There's no opportunity to make money. We're going to close it. Now, here's a big point I do want to make, and a really big pet peeve for me is a lot of people, I look at farms and I look at their books, and they're still doing the same thing for years and years and years, even though it's not making money. So we know a milk farm, incredible quality milk, really good milk, but they're losing money at it every month. And my thing to them has been, hey, you're losing money, you're not willing to fix it, you need to close this. But I see a lot of farms hang on because they've always done it this way, or their grandfather was a farmer, so they need to continue the family farm, even though they have to work the 9-to-5 job to keep the farm in business, or the wife has to work in town and work at the school to make the bills, pay the bills. So really think about that when you're thinking about closing it. Close it. If it's not working, close it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about focus here, because I've kind of been mentioning that a little bit through here, but I want to make big letters and really dial in on this. Focus. So what we see with a lot of the farmers we work with is when they start to narrow their focus, drop off some of these auxiliary enterprises, their income starts to explode. A lot of people say, oh, if I don't do that, I won't make that kind of money. But look, if something's breaking even, you're spending time on that where you normally could be exploring new enterprises, spending more time with your family, looking into, taking care of your regular enterprises better. And so one of the farms we worked with, they were doing, like $30,000 on 2 acres of vegetables. And then 2 years, they went from that to $100,000 on a half acre of vegetables. Reason why? In the early years, they were also trying to do animals on several different types. And what they did is they figured out they needed to drop their animals. They talked to a really good consultant. They dropped the animals, focused on the vegetables, and that's when they were able to just skyrocket their income. And at that point, they brought us in to kind of help them tweak and try to really dial in their systems. And it looks really good, and they've got some great things going on. But again, it's all about the focus. Focus in on that idea. Focus on what you're good at and what you really can make money on, and just do it really, really good. Be an artisan at it and go out and win those awards. So, all right. So I kind of went all that way. We need to come back and say, Curtis's original question was, how do you tell your customers that you're going to do that, and how do you, how do you deal with the backlash on that? So our kind of line has always been on this is, how our goal on this farm is always produce the best quality product. And we feel that this enterprise, we weren't doing as good a job as we could on that. And because we're focused and we're devoted to bringing the best quality product on our other products, that we're going to have to drop this enterprise to do the best job on these other products. And then at that point, we usually try to have others lined up to take that business. So even if we're closing enterprise, we try to find others that offer that and point people in that direction and let those people know before we're going to just drop that business and say, hey, look, guys, we're not growing sunflowers anymore, cut sunflowers anymore. It was about X amount of business for us, and we think you could just expand your business to cover this niche, and we'll send our customers over to you. So that's kind of how we've dealt with that. And it's worked out. So, all right, I know I've talked for a while. Feel free to go ahead and put your comments below, like and share this video. And shout out to T-shirt of the day. This is Small Farms for Big Change. This is Ray Tyler's organization down in Selmer, Tennessee. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, Ray, in December of this year. So, all right, y'all have a great night, and looking forward to chatting with you tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching.